Well, a pleasant morning to you all, children. So, today we are moving to the fifth lesson in history or social science, you can say. It is the Kingdom of Mysore or Vadayars of Mysore. In this lesson, we shall be discussing about the Vadayars of Mysore, Hyder Ali, and Tipu Sultan, and some important rulers like Krishna Raja Vadayar the fourth, and some other important Diwans who we call as the prime ministers during their time. Okay, so today, without wasting our time, let's move to the topic. So before going to Vijayanagara, I would like to remember you that this Mysore, it was an chieftain kingdom. It was a chieftain kingdom. That means it was under the rule of Vijayanagara Empire. With the decline of Vijayanagara Empire, they declared their independence and started to rule independently. We can say that, right? So among the important Vadayars of Mysore, we are having Yeduraya, was the first king of Mysore Vadayars. He ruled between 1399 to 1423 CE. The state emblem was Ganda Berunda. Okay, even today, our state, that means our Karnataka state emblem is Ganda Berunda. You can see the picture or image of this Ganda Berunda on Northwest Karnataka Road Transportation buses. Okay, it is an imaginary bird standing like this. Okay, so that bird, it is nothing but Ganda Berunda. Okay, it is the royal emblem of the state. Then their capital was Sriranga Pattana. Sriranga Pattana was their capital. Okay, like how we have for Karnataka, we are having Bangalore as our capital. Like that, they had Srirangapatana as their capital. Okay, let's discuss about Chikkadeva Raya. Chikkadeva Raya Vadayar, we can say that he ruled between 1673 and 1704 CE. So he's one of the prominent kings of the Vadayars family, we can say that. Then he undertook many pro-people reforms or measures. Okay, that means in order to work for the welfare of the people or to work in favor of the people, he introduced several measures in his kingdom, we can say that. So in the beginning, he opened Athara Kacheri. Athara Kacheri is nothing but a structure which had 18 departments. It had 18 departments in it. Like today, we are having many Vidhana Soda in Koppal. There we can see many departments working together. Working together under a single structure. Okay, like that he opened Athara Kacheri, which had 18 departments. Then uh, one more important achievement is he built a dam across the river Kaveri near Srirangapatana in order to irrigate the lands or to supply the water to the fields, regular supply of water to the fields, so that we could make the land irrigated and could get good production. Okay, that will be helpful for the farmers. So as a result, he built a dam across the river Kaveri near Srirangapatana. Then he introduced thrift in his administration. What do you mean by thrift? Thrift is nothing but a quality. It is a quality of using money and resources. ದುಡ್ಡು ಮತ್ತು ಸಂಪನ್ಮೂಲಗಳು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು. Okay, money and resources to use in a right way and not wasting it. See, when you send something, a letter to central government officers, what they do is the letter which we have sent to them, the same letter, what they do is um, they cut it, and they will make the reverse of that. And same in the same letter itself, they will write something and they will send it to us. Okay, that means they are not wasting the money on covers and all. The letter the cover which we have sent, the same cover is returned back to us in a reverse order, we can say that. Okay, so that they are not wasting the money. By this they can control the expenses of the government or the state, so that can be utilized for the welfare of the people. So as a result, due to this, he enriched his treasury and was called Navakoti Narayana. He had the title Navakoti Narayana. At the same time, it is not just this. I'll quote you some other examples of him. Chikkadevaraja Vadayar, he also introduced postal system, Anche system, we can say that, postal system, right? Uh, and then he introduced weights and measures so that the people should not be cheated. That means the merchants and the traders who are using this weigh scale, ತಕ್ಕಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, ತಕ್ಕಡಿ ಅಥವಾ ಮೆಸರಿಂಗ್ ಜಾರ್ಲಿಂದ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಮೋಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಇನ್ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಟು what you call that, save the people from being cheated, okay, from getting cheated or from being cheated, he introduced weights and measures. To even today we are this weights and measures is followed in India. You might be say, when you go to a shop to buy something rice or something like that, they will be having one weighing scale, you know. So for that, what the stones they are keeping, 1 kg stones, 2 kg stones, it will be of what you call that, where it will be given by the weights and measures. On that, weights and measures department had put a seal on that, so that it is valid or else not. Okay, so in this way he controlled the that means he saved the people from being cheated. Then I said you that he introduced postal system. Okay, and was rightly called Navakoti Narayana. The kings after him who succeeded him were weak and inefficient, hence the kingdom was passed on to the hands of the Dalavais. Dalavais are nothing but the generals, army generals. They ruled the kingdom on behalf of the king or in the name of the king. Okay, the king was sided, that means he was kept aside, and these Dalavais are the generals. They started to rule over the uh, people, we can say, right? Understood? The name of a king, to say that name ella king in there, but ಆಡಳಿತ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರೋದು generals. See, this is the Athara Kacheri which was established during his time. It's look like our mini Vidhana Soda. I don't know how many departments are working in mini Vidhana Soda in Koppal, but here we have in this we had 18 departments. Okay, so after this we come to Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan. Only we discuss about Hyder Ali. His period starts from 1761 to 1782. Okay, Hyder Ali, he was an ordinary captain under the general Nanjarajaya's army. That means he was an ordinary captain in the Dalavai Nanjarajaya's army, we can say that. No doubt he was a brave and adventurous man. Who? Hyder Ali was brave and adventurous. And then he participated in many battles. He participated and won in many battles. Due to this, he confiscated a lot of wealth, we can say that, or money, we can say that. And with the help of this money, he became what do you call that, not just rich, at the same time he strengthened his army. That means he started to build his own army, or he started to keep his own army, we can say that. And due to this, the kings liked him. He earned the love and appreciation of the Vadayars, we can say that. And when there was a revolt in the what do you call that, capital in Srirangapatna, when there was a revolt in the capital, he suppressed that. Who? Hyder Ali suppressed and restored the kingship of Krishna Raja Vadayar. He restored the kingship of Krishna Raja Vadayar. Okay, at the same time he removed the Dalavai Nanjarajaya and took over the administration. It means that when there was a revolt, ಆ ದಂಗೆ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ದಲ್ಲಿ ದಂಗೆ ಇತ್ತು, ಇದನ್ನು ಉಪಶಮನ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೈದರ್ ಅಲಿ tried a lot and finally became successful. And finally he also removed Dalavai, maybe Nanjarajaya, and took over the administration of Mysore. That means the king, I told you that the kings, he was sided, that means he was kept aside, and these generals, they started to rule over the Mysore state, we can say that. Okay, so after this, or soon after coming to the power, or soon coming to the power, he engaged in battles. He engaged in battles with Keladi, Chitradurga, and Yelahanka. In the last classes itself, I told you that Keladi, Chitradurga, and Yelahanka, and many other neighboring states. He defeated them and extended his empire. Sorry, Mysore kingdom. He extended his Mysore kingdom. That means the conquered territories of or the conquered kingdoms of Keladi, Chitradurga, and Yelahanka, they were merged with the Mysore state. They were merged into Mysore state, right? Right, and then what happens? See, battles with the British. Battles with the British. The British who had come to India. The British who had come to India as merchants and traders gradually developed themselves as a political power. As a political power, okay. um, in the next classes I will tell you that which battle paved the way for the establishment of the British Empire in India is nothing but the Battle of Plassey in 1757. The defeat, or we can say that the defeat of Sirajuddaulah in the Battle of Plassey in 1757 was the main reason for the establishment of British Empire in India. We can say that when we go to second semester, we'll discuss in brief, right? So the British, they did not like Hyder Ali. Um, they did not like Hyder Ali because Hyder Ali was expanding the Mysore kingdom. He was he was extending the territories of the Mysore kingdom, or in the South India, or in South India. So that was disliked by the British. They did not like Hyder Ali getting involved in the expansion of the empire, or or his kingdom in South India. So due to this, a clash between these two, the British and Hyder Ali, it became inevitable. Inevitable is nothing but unavoidable. ಏನು ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಮಾಡಲೇಬೇಕು ಯುದ್ಧ ಅಂದಂಗೆ, ರೈಟಾ? ಸೊ ಆಸ್ ಅ ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್, the history in history sorry history has recorded four battles or four wars that were fought between British and Hyder Ali and his son Tippu, and his son Tippu. They are known as Anglo-Mysore Wars or Mysore Wars. Anglo is nothing but when you fight against the British, it were called Anglo, right? Right. I told you that the war between these two, it became inevitable. As a result, the first Anglo-Mysore war broke out, and in this battle, the British, it suffered losses, huge losses. It suffered huge losses. Hence, the British came forward to sign the Treaty of Madras. Treaty of Madras. ಒಪ್ಪಂದ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು. Okay, Treaty of Madras, because it had already faced considerable losses, or huge losses, we can say that. As a result, they signed the Treaty of Madras. It was signed at Madras, so it is called the Treaty of Madras, we can say that. As per this treaty, as per this treaty, okay, or an agreement, it was told that if the British were attacked by some other kingdom, Hyder Ali should go into the rescue of British. Whereas when Hyder Ali's kingdom, if it was attacked by any some other political forces or some other foreign forces, at that time British should come into the rescue or into the help of Hyder Ali. Hyder Ali, but at this juncture, Marathas, Marathas Shivaji, right? The Marathas were a strong political power in South India, and they attacked kingdom of Mysore. They attacked the kingdom of Mysore, and at this moment, according to the agreement, this British had to come to the help of Hyder Ali, but the British kept neutral by breaking the agreement. By breaking the agreement, they kept neutral. As a result, this what you call that Hyder Ali had to face huge losses in the battle against the Marathas. and due to this he was totally enraged. He was enraged is nothing but ರೊಚ್ಚಿಗೆಳ್ತಾನೆ ಯಾರ ಮೇಲೆ ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷರ ಮೇಲೆ. Okay, so as a result he dragged the British for the second Anglo-Mysore war. In a short time, in a very short time, the second Anglo-Mysore war started. And during this war, mm, while he was fighting in the second Anglo-Mysore war, he died of severe fever or a severe illness. He was suffering from severe illness, and later he died. Later he died. As a result, this second battle of or second Anglo-Mysore war, it was continued. It was continued by his son, by his son Tippu. This Tipu or Tipu Sultan had fought many battles, along with his, or he had participated along with his father in many battles and had won, and emerged as winner. And he had emerged as winner, and he declared him to be the Sultan of Mysore. We can say that, right? So he continued the second war of Mysore. And this to say that in the next class I will tell you that. I can say here only, um, the second Anglo-Mysore also ended in Treaty of Mangalore. We will discuss in the next class. And but before going to that, let's read out the achievements of Hyder Ali. No doubt Hyder Ali was a brave soldier and an efficient administrator. Hmm? See, though an illiterate, who is illiterate? One who does not know to read and write a language is called a illiterate, right? Understood? So, though an illiterate, he knew several languages. He could speak several languages, including Kannada, right? And then, no doubt, then today's Lal Bagh Garden at Bangalore, or in Bangalore, what we see Lal Bagh Garden in Bangalore was his creation. That means he was the creator of Lal Bagh Garden in Bangalore. In Bangalore, we can say that. And he is the person, Hyder Ali is the person who extended the Mysore kingdom considerably, or he doubled the size of the Mysore kingdom. We can say that. I told you, as soon as he came to the power after what do you call that, keeping away, when he removed that Dalavai Nanjarajaya. So when he came to the power, what did he do? He went on extending his kingdom by defeating the rulers like Kedadi, Chitradurga, Yelahanka, Alupas, and some other dynasties. Okay, in this way, he doubled the size of the Mysore territories, or Mysore kingdom, we can say that. So that was his important achievement. No doubt, he was a valiant ruler and a good administrator, we can say that, right? So, okay, thank you. Well, today we are moving to Tipu Sultan. His period starts from 1782 to 1799 CE. I told you that he was son of Hyder Ali. Then, along with his father, he had fought many wars, okay, and emerged as winner, and finally declared him to be the Sultan, okay. And after the death of his father in Second Anglo-Mysore War, he continued the war against the British, okay. But what happens is, either what do you call that, in Second Anglo-Mysore War, no political power came for his help. No political power in South India came for his help for while he was fighting against the British. And without any option, or be isolated, or due to being alone, we had to give up. We had to give up the war, and this war ended with the Treaty of Mangalore. We can say that. I can say that the Treaty of Second Anglo-Mysore War ended with the Treaty of Mangalore. It ended with the Treaty of Mangalore. Okay. But anyhow, this war, it brought satisfaction to both the parties. I mean to say, British and the Tipu Sultan. It brought some support, some what do you call that, support or goodwill to both the parties, right? So what was that? What was the treaty? See, it is nothing but both they exchanged, both they, both the British and Tipu, they exchanged their what do you call that, conquered territories of each other. They gave back, for example, Tipu, he gave back the conquered territories of British. At the same time, British, they gave the conquered territories of Hyder Ali. That means they restored each other's conquered territories, one. And at the same time, they also exchanged their prisoners of wars. For example, Tipu's soldiers who were under the imprisonment of British released Tipu soldiers. And whereas Tipu, he released the British soldiers. Anyhow, it brought satisfaction to both the parties, which ended in the Treaty of Mangalore, we can say that. And in a very short period, third Anglo-Mysore War broke out. So what was the reason for these wars? First war, second war, uh, totally wars. What was the reason? The reason is that mutual hatredness and disbelief. Hatredness is nothing but ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತು, ದ್ವೇಷ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು ನಾವು. And disbelief is nothing but they had no faith in each one another. British did not have faith in Tipu and Hyder, and this Hyder and Tipu, they did not have faith in British. This was the reason for the battles between Hyder Ali, Tipu, and the British. Okay, so anyhow, third Anglo-Mysore War, it started, and the British, they laid a siege. They laid a siege to the fort of Srirangapatna. Srirangapatna was the capital of Tipu. Was the capital of Tipu. They led a siege to the fort of Srirangapatna, and without any alternative. That means Tipu, he did not have anything to defend for himself. He did not have anything to defend for himself. As a result, we had to sign once again peace treaty with the British. Okay, and that means Tipu, he lost even third Anglo-Mysore War also, we can say that. He lost even third Anglo-Mysore War also, we can say that. Right? According to this treaty, what happens is, uh, as per the treaty, Tipu, he surrendered half his kingdom to the British. That means he gave half his kingdom to the British, right? On the other hand, he sent his two sons as hostages to the British. ಒತ್ತೆ ಆಳ್ತರ ತನ್ನ ಮಕ್ಕಳನ್ನ ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷ್ ಕಡೆ ಬಿಡ್ತಾನೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು ನಾವು. He sent two of his sons as hostages to the British. Why he sent to the British is that he agreed to give 330 lakh rupees as compensation or war indemnity. How much? 330 lakh rupees as a compensation to the British. um, okay, as a penalty, we can say that, as a penalty or something like that, for the third Anglo Mysore War, and he agreed to pay that. Until that amount was cleared, he sent two of his sons as hostages to the British. Okay, so this treaty, it made Tipu feel disgraced. That means he felt like disgrace is nothing but apamana aitu, insult aitu ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂತಾನೆ. Okay, and finally he dragged the British for the fourth Anglo-Mysore War with the intention of do or die. Either he has to be there, or the British has to be there, or he has to, at any cost, he will drag the British out of the country. This was his intention. But what happens is, when the fourth Anglo-Mysore War started, uh, what do you call that? Again, once again, the British, they led a siege, or occupied the fort of Sriranga Pattana. Tipu fought valiantly. Tipu fought valiantly. That means he fought bravely against the British, okay, and died in the battle. And died in the battlefield. Okay, that was the end of Tipu Sultan in 1799. In 1799, the in Fourth Anglo-Mysore War, Tipu Sultan died fighting against the British with the slogan "Do or Die." We can say that, because he has nothing left with him. He was totally disgraced after Third Anglo Mysore War, and he did not have anything to defend for himself. As a result, he dragged the British for the Fourth Anglo Mysore War. As usual, the British, they led a siege to the fort of Srirangapatana, and without having any option, this fellow Tipu Sultan, he surrendered to the um, British. That means he fought in the Fourth Anglo-Mysore War. He fought bravely against the British, and fighting in this battle, he died. He died. No doubt today is also is popularly known as Tiger of Mysore. Tiger of Mysore. This is maybe this is what I'm showing you. It is the imaginary picture of Tipu Sultan. We can say that. See, this is the picture of Tipu Sultan. Imaginary picture. We can say that. We don't maybe we don't have what you call that original face, right? Right. So this is the what you are seeing is Mysore Kingdom. Mysore Kingdom. So here we are having Bangalore, Chitradurga, mm, here Keladi, right? Okay. Right. What happens here? After the death or the fall of Tipu Sultan, Mysore, um, it came under the hands of the British. Mysore, it came under the hand of the British, right? And the kingdom, they divided. After the death of Tipu Sultan or the fall of Tipu Sultan, Mysore kingdom came under the British rule. I said you that. Okay, they handed over the administration to Krishna Raja Vadayar the third. Okay, but Mysore became independent state of the British. Sorry, dependent state of the British. See what happens is, in the fourth Anglo-Mysore War, the Marathas, the Nizams, hmm, and the British together, they fought against what do you call that? Against Mysore Kingdom or Tipu Sultan, we can say that. Against Tipu Sultan. That is the reason the kingdom of Mysore was divided into four parts. I think it is not mentioned here. The kingdom was divided into four part. One part they kept it for themselves, the British, and one part they gave it to the Nizams, and another to the Marathas, and one part they gave it to Krishna Raja Vadayar the third. Okay, so finally, Mysore, it remained as a dependent state of the British, but secured. But secured because the British, they were the strong political power during that time. So let's see personality and achievements of Tipu Sultan. So he was well read. He was well aware about science and technology. Hmm? Right? He built a palace. He built a palace in Srirangapatana, which is called Dariya Daulat, which is known by name Dariya Daulat. Then there is also a palace. There is also a palace built by him at Bangalore. We can say that. Okay. So the walls, pillars, and the roofs of the summer palace are painted with paintings depicting historical incidents. So when you visit Darya Daulat Palace at Srirangapatana, you can see the walls and the pillars, and the roofs, and the roof of the summer what do you call that palace or Darya Daulat are painted with the paintings depicting historical incidents. Historical incidents what occurred are shown there. See, this is Bangalore Palace. This is what you are seeing is Bangalore Palace. At the same time, we are having Darya Daulat Palace, which is at Sri Ranga Patana. This one. Okay, right. Second is that he popularized sericulture in the state. That means he developed or he popularized, not just popularized but also developed sericulture in the state. What do you mean by sericulture? Sericulture is nothing but growing of silkworms. Silkworms, you know that silkworms, what do they feed on? They feed on mulberry leaves. Mulberry leaves. Okay. Uh, he developed sericulture on a large scale or on a wide scale, we can say that. Hmm? Or we can say that he is the person who introduced silk to India, right? Then he modernized his army with the help of the French. So this was another reason uh, that the British, what do you call that, had bitter enmity with the that means Tipu Sultan had to face the bitter enmity of the British because he was involved with the French, and you know that there were these European forces like British, Dutch, Portuguese, and all, they fought against one another in expanding their territories, mm? And they did not like these forces to be the friend of any Indian forces. As a result, we can say that whereas Tipu, who had good contacts with the French, okay, with the help of them, he tried to modernize his army. He tried to modernize the army with the help of the French. This might have, what do you call that, irritated the British. We are not sure. Okay, then because nothing is mentioned here. So finally, you can say that he modernized his army with the help of French. Then he molded guns at Sri Rangapatana. At Sri Rangapatana, that means there was a factory that which prepared guns in Sri Rangapatana, and he mastered the technique of shooting rockets. That means he had developed the technology to shoot the rockets. He had developed the technology to shoot the rockets. Okay, even it is said that his rockets are kept in museum in London or America, in European countries. Okay, so at the same time, Tipu, he sanctioned grants, or he gave donations or charity or contributions to many Hindu temples. Hmm? And he also gave gift to Sringeri Mutt. He also gave gifts to Sringeri Mutt. Then he brought many changes in the field of sericulture and helped farmers by giving loans which could be repaid in easy installments. That means today what our government is following by giving loans to the farmers and asking them to pay in installments. Such a system was during the time of the Tipu Sultan, who encouraged the soldiers by giving the, sorry, what do you call it? He encouraged the farmers by giving loans, by giving loans to them, and after giving loans, that he collected in installments, in easy installments, right? So at the same time, he constructed or he built the tomb of Hyder Ali and Jama Masjid. Hmm? Okay, and then he established royal mints at Srirangapatana and Mysore. He established royal mints at Srirangapatana and Mysore. So this is Juma Masjid, which is at Srirangapatana, built by Tipu Sultan. Tipu Sultan, right? Okay. See here, what I said is he established royal mints at Srirangapatana and Mysore. What do you mean by royal mints or mints? Mints is a place where coins are prepared. Mint or mints is a place where coins are prepared or manufactured. Today we are having 1 rupee coin, 10 rupees coin, 5 rupees coin, and all now. So they are minted. They are minted. We call that as a mint. We call that the place where coins are minted, it is called a mint. Okay. So during Tipu Sultan, those were at Srirangapatna and Mysore. Let's study about Krishna Raja Vadayar the third. uh, Krishna Raja Vadayar the third, I told you that he was given one part of Mysore kingdom, which got divided, what do you call that, which got divided in between the Marathas, the Nizams, the British, and one part was given to Krishna Raja Vadayar the third. His period starts from 1799 to 1831 CE. Okay, okay. So when Krishna Raja Vadayar the third he came to the power, he was very small. He was very small. Okay, or just he was of 5 years old. He was just 5 years old. So as a result, the kingdom was passed on to the hands of Purnaya. Purnaya, who he was appointed as the Diwan of Mysore. Diwan of Mysore. Diwan is nothing but prime minister. We can say that of in those days. So he looked after the administration. Okay, in the name of King Purnaya, looked after the administration as the Diwan of Mysore, as the PM of Mysore, because Krishna Raja Vadayar the third was just a boy of just 5 years old boy. So finally, further what happens is, mm, after it, there was a revolt. A revolt started in Bidunur of Shimoga district. There was a revolt started in Bidanur of Shimoga district, and the Krishna Raja Vadayar the third did not suppress the revolt properly or successfully. We can say that. Okay, he did not mm, get that revolt under his control. He did not bring that revolt under his control. As a result, the British were displeased. Were not satisfied with the rule of Krishna Raja Vadayar the third. So they dethroned him. That means they removed him from the throne, and they brought the Mysore under the commissioner's rule. Okay, they brought the Mysore under the administration of commissioner's rule, or commissioner rule started in Mysore kingdom. We can say that, right? So today, let's move to administration of commissioners, right? Administration of commissioners starts from 1831 to 1881 CE, right? So Mark Cubbon was the first. Mark Cubbon was the first commissioner who came to the power. His period starts from 1834 to 1861 CE. He transferred the capital from Mysore to Bangalore. See, earlier the capital was Mysore. Mark Cubbon, he shifted the capital from Mysore to Bangalore. Yes, and Mysore was divided into many administrative units and kept under superintendent's vision. See, after that they divided Mysore into many administrative units. Many administrative units. That means the Mysore kingdom was divided into districts, then taluks, then hoblis, then gramas, and these what do you call that? In order to maintain these districts, taluk, and all, they brought some officers to look after this administration. Okay, administrations were divided into districts and taluks. I told you that. Judiciary and police department were well organized. That means Nyayanga ittu, court system was there, and police department was there, which protects the law and order in the state or the country. We can say that. Whereas the judiciary, it gives judgment based on the evidences that which has got. Okay. So here is the picture of Mark Cubbon. The commissioner is one of the best commissioner which country has India has seen, right? Hmm? Then Kannada was implemented as official language. The language of the court and other things were taken in, what do you call that? Carried out in English. Sorry, carried out in Kannada language. They were carried out in Kannada language. Uh, Many new roads were built. Many new roads were built, and as a result, all the major places of the state could get connected directly to Bangalore. What he did is, after shifting the capital from Mysore to Bangalore, okay, now what he did is he started connecting many major places or major cities or some big towns and cities directly to the Bangalore, so that the people should not what do you call that, get trouble for transportation and all. In such a way, he created the roads, or he built the roads that could connect directly to the Bangalore. Like today we are having from from Gangavati, we are having direct bus to Bangalore from different parts of the what do you call that, mm, places. We are having facility to Bangalore, isn't it? What that means, transportation facilities we are having, right? And then bridges were built and telegraphic lines were also established. Bridges bridges is nothing but the, that means it connects one place to another place. For example, you think that we are having Kampali Bridge. When you cross Kampali Bridge, it is a part, it comes under Ballari district. That will come under the Ballari district, and before that bridge, it is all under, that comes under Gangavati. That means Koppal district. That means what divides uh, Koppal district and Ballari district? It is the Kampali Bridge, we can say that. So when the bridge was built, the transportation was easy, okay, so that people could travel safely and come back safely. At the same time, goods, everything, trade also got connected with the city and the states, we can say that, okay. And then telegraphic lines were laid. Today we are having telephone. So telegraph is nothing but it is a system, or one kind of medium to send the news, that which traveled through the wires. It was available in what do you call that, postal departments when we were small. And if we need to pass a message very urgently to the people who are living in Bangalore, Mysore, and all, we used to make them a telegraph, or sorry, telegram ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ವಿ ಅದು. So only very few words are quoted, were quoted. That means important messages were sent, right? So it went through the wires. So then, and he also led railway railway lines. Railway coaches were led, or railway line was established between Bangalore and Zolarpet in Karnataka, and we can say that this was the first railway lines that was laid between Bangalore and Zolarpet. See, this railway started in 1853. 1853 in 1853 in India. Hmm? Right? So, in fact, this was the first railway line established in the state. And then finally, this Mark Cubbon, he resigned from the commissioner post in 1861. 1861, the Cubbon Park was built in his memory. Today, what you see Cubbon Park in Bangalore, it was built in memory of Mark Cubbon for his notable contributions to the welfare of the people. For his notable contributions for the welfare of the people, in his memory, this Cubbon Park is built at Bangalore. It is in Bangalore. Okay. So I told you that this commissioner rule, when it started, the Mysore kingdom was divided into districts into taluks. In the district level, they had superintendents. For example, under the commissioner, there is one superintendent of police, we can say that. district commissioner will be there, right? Under him, there will be one person called district commissioner. Sorry, under him there will be superintendent of police. So his duties are charged with the discharged with the help of superintendent of police in the district. We can say that. So after this, one more what do you call that person comes, that is Louis Bentham Boring. Louis Bentham Boring. His period starts from 1862 to 1870 CE. Okay, he came as the commissioner of Mysore in 1862, right? Then the land revenue collection process was reorganized. That means he introduced a reform. He introduced changes in revenue collection, land revenue collection process, land revenue collection process. He brought some reforms there. Then, um, during the period of Mark Cubbon, judiciary and police department were well organized. So the same in his period also it carried out. It was also good. We can say that. Educational reforms were introduced with the establishment of public instructions, right? Education reforms, changes in education were also brought. Changes in education were also brought during his time, with the establishment of public instruction. Public instruction in Koppal, we are having DDPI, Deputy Director of Public Instructor, something it is, right? So he is the head of district educational institutions. We can say that he is the person who looks after the educational institutions at the district level, and under him are the BEO, block education officers, who report him with the day-to-day status of their territory. We can say that, right? So Boring, he resigned from the commissioner post in 1870. Hmm? Uh, so we can say that he laid a strong foundation for the development of the Mysore state. But better than him was Mark Cubbon. We can say that Mark Cubbon. Okay, thank you. We'll continue in the next class.